Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of On the Verge. Today is August 4th, one day before my birthday. I'm going to almost be 21. No, wait a second. That's okay. I'm lying, but it is one day before my birthday. Tomorrow's the big day. I'm glad to see that I made it. I haven't made it to 60 yet, but at least I got to. I don't know how old am I? 58. I'll be 58 tomorrow. So, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for following us and joining us tonight. We have some really cool stuff to talk about tonight, and some pretty exciting announcements to make. And there's going to be more in the future as well. I want to touch base on a few housekeeping things. Number one, I will tell you that, again, I'll introduce myself first. I'm Virgil, your House District 2 rep. This is a conservative-leaning podcast. Doesn't mean we're only conservative. We like to talk to everybody, but this is a conservative-leaning podcast. And I always say, if you don't like what we have to say, that's okay. You don't have to watch us. You can turn us off. If you do like what we have to say, that's great. Thank you for staying with us, and hopefully you come back. And if you don't really like us at all, you can always come down here and see Justin and now Jake with Spider King Studios, and they'll produce a podcast for you. This podcast is not something that we do for free. We pay them to do this podcast, and we are repeated. Eventually, we're supposed to be on the radio, although we're not on the radio yet. But I heard a rumor that they're about ready to put us on, so that'll be kind of nice. But we are probably, I guess we're 2 years into this thing now, and we're still growing. Our audience is growing. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all kinds of different places. We're touching about 1 million people over 90 days, and please like and follow us on whatever form of whatever you listen to, however you listen to your podcast or watch your podcast, and of course YouTube. Also on YouTube, you can subscribe. That the more people we get to subscribe, the more we can get the message out. And again, like I've always said, we are open to questions. So tonight is not an exception to that. We have the ability to answer your questions. You ask us online, myself or Trent. We'll try to follow along. Trent follows YouTube. I follow Facebook for questions and comments, and we may comment back. If it's something totally ridiculous, you may get a ridiculous comment back, but that's okay too. And lastly, I had some comments on YouTube last week that I was getting chastised for deleting comments. Well, frankly, I will just tell everybody right now, we don't delete comments. And I honestly don't see them after the podcast ends. We don't see the comments on YouTube. Well, my chief of staff did some digging, and we found out there is actually a way. Those comments are not deleted. They are still there. So if you call me all kinds of Nazi names because you think I delete and ignore you and I block you, you're wrong. We actually do allow those comments, and we do leave them there. So if you do make a comment, it's there forever. So if you're not proud of it, you may not want to say it. If you are proud of it, that's fine too. But the way you find those comments, you go into the recorded podcast, you turn the podcast on, you watch the podcast, the comments will come up on the side during the time they were actually placed on the podcast. And so I learned something new about that myself. So anyway. All right, well, let's move on. There's a few other things I want to talk about, but first I want to introduce my guest tonight. My guest, and a lot of people know him, is Steve Loosley. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Virgil.
Yeah, so who are you?
It's really an honor to be here.
Yeah.
Steve Loosley. I was born and raised here and went to high school here and worked my entire career here in small business all the way through until we finally sold our company. Still have a small business. Been very active in the community for quite a number of years, and for the last decade, my wife and I have really, just given our lives to try to make this community a better place for everyone to live.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I messaged Steve, and he was happy to come on, although I think he was a little nervous about it. I didn't know if we were going to put him on the spot or not, which we probably will, but it's okay. We'll help him through it. But we're so happy to have you, Steve, and thank you for all you have done for our community, as well as you are also a very strong supporter of mine. You supported my candidacy every time I've ran. You've also you were a big help with our kickoff event, which was an amazing event. I mean, one of the best ones I think anybody's ever seen. So thank you so much for that. Also, I have my co-host, Trent. Trent, who are you?
Hey, everybody. Trent Drake. I'm the chair of the Douglas County Republican Central Committee, Virgil's campaign manager, and kind of political liaison, for a fancy word.
The guy in the background that actually
Yeah,
keeps me informed.
yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, Trent and I have been friends for a lot of years, but our connection, Trent has the same connection. So you can pick up the phone and call your senator, you can call your representative, you can call any of your representatives, and they'll answer the phone.
Mhm.
And I think that's important, and I think it's just another way that the voice of Douglas County is heard because
Yeah.
people like you putting the effort in and building those relationships.
Yeah, and I'll tell you nothing about Steve. Steve's a big supporter of the Central Committee.
Yes.
In any events that we've done, him and his wife have always been involved and engaged with us the whole time. Plus, another member of the Roseburg Community Cancer Center that I serve on the board with.
Yep. So we're gonna let the cat out of the bag tonight. We're gonna talk about some stuff, and I promised in the I promised in the I guess the preface to this show tonight that we were going to make a huge announcement that we feel is going to affect all of Roseburg and maybe beyond, and we're going to do that here in just a minute. But our viewership is growing here. I see more and more people are coming on. I hate to let the cat out of the bag too early, but what the hell? Let's just do it. So Steve, you've got a pretty important announcement to make tonight, and it's funny. When I put this up on Facebook that there was an announcement coming, one of the first people that texted me was Kyle Bailey with the news station, and he wanted to know what the announcement was. I said, well, it's kind of a secret, Kyle. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. No, I didn't say that, but I did tell him that I told him
He's probably in therapy now.
Yeah, probably. No, I told him what the secret was, but I said you can't announce it until after Steve has a chance to talk about it, and then I trusted he wouldn't do that. So, Steve, I'm so excited about this. I on so many levels. But what's your announcement tonight?
So I filed to run for mayor for the city of Roseburg.
Right on.
Turned all my signatures in, and I'm confident that I'll have plenty to qualify for the ballot, and
Nice.
just ready to kick off my campaign now to run for mayor. And I'm super excited about the opportunity, and really looking forward to the chance to support our community and take us in a much more positive direction to really benefit everyone that lives here.
I think, well, first off, you and I have been friends for quite a while now, and I know politically we're aligned, which I appreciate. I might be a little bit right of you. I'm not sure, but maybe not. But the city of Roseburg has gone through so many things lately. We don't have to get into the weeds on all of the different things that have happened, but the city council, your wife serves on a city council. And I have mentioned to folks in the past that the mayor is the one that sets the agenda for the meetings. And I felt like, and again, I don't have an axe to grind with Larry Rich. I mean, he's been mayor for a lot of years. He keeps getting reelected, so clearly people like him. But I think that even though the mayor is only one vote, I think the mayor has a direct drive of the direction of the city itself. And if you would, just kind of comment on where you think the city needs to go compared to where we are now.
I think the first place to start, Virgil, is that we need to rebuild relations with the city, with Douglas County commissioners, and then also with our state legislators, with Representative Osborne and Senator Brock Smith. And in order for our community to really thrive, we need all of these different elected officials working together in the same direction. And for just I don't want to be critical of anyone or speak badly, but those relationships have just fractured. And I consider all of the people I just mentioned to really be dear friends of mine and people that I've worked with and supported, and I'm utterly confident that we can work together, and it will our community will be much better as a result. And in terms of like setting the agenda, I want to really refocus our conversation and focus it around things that are going to move us forward. If you look just anywhere, whether you go north or south, east, west, Sutherland or Grants Pass, or over on the coast, or head east to Bend. I mean, there's these other communities that are really thriving, and we have so much potential as a community, and I want to help us all work together as a community to just turn this conversation to much more positive. The key themes that I'm interested in are, family friendly, business friendly, and, community friendly. And those are, each one of those has got an ocean of meaning, underneath it. And I know that we can do, there's so much potential. There's really fabulous people here.
Well, and Steve, I mentioned to you before the show, we were talking about some of the other cities are doing locally here, and I know I always like to use Sutherland as an example because I just think Sutherland is they weren't always that way, but I think in the last 10 years or more, they've been kind of a shining example of how a city can thrive. In Sutherland, you have the Blackberry Festival, which has been going on for years, but it's thriving. It's not just stagnant. It's actually taken off and done well. You have the latest one, the barbecue cook-off. I can't remember what it's called now. It's
The Throwdown.
the Throwdown, Sutherland Throwdown.
Yeah.
Amazing event. You get all the food trucks in there. And then just recently, I went to a concert there, the music in the park that they have up there, and the band was incredible, and the place was packed.
Yeah.
And I think that, I realize Roseburg has the Music on the Half Shell, which I think is also a great event. But I noticed that entertainment in Sutherland just seems to be so much higher caliber. I wouldn't say higher caliber. That's the wrong thing to say. More geared toward the community, right? We live frankly, we live in a blue collar community, and people like country music and they like older songs and they like those kind of things. And when I see, on stage, the stuff we watched was a Journey tribute band. And they were playing stuff from the 80s, and I'm like, yeah, I know every one of these songs, right? I mean, it's like, and I would love to see Roseburg thrive. And I know we have a new chamber president, and I think that's definitely going to help a lot. But what are some of the events or some of the things that you'd like to see come into Roseburg?
So, if we just take an inventory, there are some really great things. You mentioned Music on the Half Shell, and that's just a fabulous event. And there's a group downtown, it's called Destination Downtown Roseburg, that's been working together for a couple of years now to create a Main Street program. And, they're starting to get a lot of momentum to build improve our downtown community. And I met with them last night and told them that, I'm a small business person and I'm all in to support our local small businesses. And I would like to see the city and especially the city council, get behind small businesses. As our downtown goes, the whole community goes. Yep. So support downtown small businesses. And, our Cow Creek tribe has a project that they're working on downtown. And,
right.
That is such a cool project that will really transform our downtown. And I'd like to see, really encourage the council and the city to get behind that project and support the project. And, we have the Urban Renewal District that's east of town that's generating, going to soon be generating significant tax revenue. And, we need to look really carefully at how we can leverage those funds that will bring economic vitality to our community. And, I think if we focus on those sorts of projects, by supporting the small businesses, we're going to provide more employment for our community, and with more jobs, more opportunities, those things all multiply. Of course, I'm on the UCC board, and I just love what, the direction the college is going with this student housing downtown. And, it's just completely in itself transformed, the whole character.
I'm a UCC alumni, and I didn't have all this stuff when I was back in school, but I love what's going on with the college. I think some of the improvements in the nursing center that they did, and I mean, it's just amazing. And the automotive stuff they're doing out there too. They have kids now out of high school that are going out there and being trained to be mechanics and welders and everything else. It's like, it's like the engine's starting to click and things are starting to work, and bringing Roseburg into that mix would be perfect.
Yeah, there's other new projects. There's an initiative that will significantly expand childcare opportunities in our community. There's a group that's working on a sports complex for our, that would be for our community. And, all these things multiply together. And I think that what's missing is having leadership, and I don't mean just the mayor. This is I'm just one part of it. But to get all of the people working together,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much opportunity there that I think that we can leverage and work together and make this just a much, much better place to live in the future.
I'll tell you, one of your fans, I'm sure, is Jerry Chartier. He just made a comment and he said that imagine that, the leadership all working together. That's a great concept, and you know, and it really is. And the nice thing is, again, you know, Steve, I've known you for a while. I know that you're, you know, familiar with Tim Freeman and Chris Boyce and Tom Kress. You guys have all, you know, we all know each other and we all have worked together in the past on various projects. And of course, David Brock Smith, you know, and Court Boyce too. I mean, you know, and the cool thing is, I don't think sometimes people understand how politics really works. You have to all start pulling together in the same direction to turn the boat, right? And again, I don't want to slight, you know, Mayor Rich. I think he's been there a long time. He's done some good stuff, and you know, it is what it is. But Roseburg is I hate to say this, but it's almost like it's dying on the vine. You know, it needs a boot. It needs an injection of things, and I think that changing the direction of the city is. I would, when I found out you were running, I was just like, this is awesome, finally.
You know, we have such a critical housing shortage in our community, and if you just look at all the development that it's been in Sutherland and Winston, and you know, the Green area, and we, you know, with recently, you know, thanks in large part to your efforts, you know, we have this new urban growth boundary swap that's will someday open up opportunities, but you know, we have critical infrastructure needs, and so there's a puzzle to solve, and that's the role of, I think, that by working together again, and the city taking a really active role, that the city council could be transformative into helping to make that infrastructure, you know, a reality, so that we can increase our, you know, workforce housing stock. We just don't have any land anymore, and I'm really anxious to see that move forward.
Absolutely.
You know, and I am involved, you know, in real estate development, but I just want to make it really clear, you know, we don't own any property in Charter Oak, so.
Neither do I, but I sure took a lot of heat for it. You know, that the whole Charter Oaks thing, and that was, I think they're projecting a potential of 750 homes out there, whether it be apartments or single family dwellings. And again, I go back to, in the legislature, we deal with a lot of numbers, and you know, affordability in Douglas County is horrible right now. I mean, people can't afford it. First off, it's hard to find a job, and if you do find a job, it's hard to make enough money to pay your mortgage or pay your rent. A lot of that has to do with, and this is something I just don't think people understand. There's an inventory of housing, and when that inventory gets small, or when it shrinks to nothing, then the rents go up, and the price of houses go up, because the market's smaller and the volume of buyers is still there, and the volume of people that wanting to rent. So what happens is, and correct me if you think differently, but you end up with homeless people, or you end up with people that are struggling to make ends meet because the price has gone up because of the lack of housing, right? And I know I hear it from my, I guess I don't want to call them my enemies, but the folks that don't agree with me on much things. You know, they always say, well, you know, we need to give out free housing. We need to put all these homeless people in housing. Well, that costs money. And where are we going to put them?
Right.
And I suppose they want the state to pay for it, or the city to pay for it. I don't know how they expect it to be paid for, but we have a little problem in Douglas County. It's called no lack of buildable space and wetlands. That's another issue, and that's a state issue. I mean, we really need to back off that, and I think what we need to do is allow a wetlands bank. And I know that the sewer department actually has some property that they're doing some nitrogen farming, so to speak, on there. And they want to use that property as a wetlands bank. They have, I think, 300 acres, and they would like to use, you know, if you have a half acre of your property you want to develop, you can swap for that and pay them, and swaps it out, and you can develop on it. That was approached with the legislature, and it got shot down in a flame of glory by some of our more environmentally friendly folks that are in the legislature. But some of those people are gone now. They're actually, so we may have to visit that one more time. But anyway, what would be the first thing you do if you were elected mayor?
The very first thing I would do would be to walk across Douglas Avenue to the courthouse and shake the hands of all of our commissioners and welcome them to the team.
There you go. Well, I hope, let me know. I'll be there that day if I can make it.
That'd be awesome, huh? I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, we have some other spots too on the council that are open. I don't know if there's like 3 or 4 positions open on the council.
Yeah, there's the way that it works, Virgil. There's 8 different counselors. There's 2 from each ward, 4
Okay.
wards, and they alternate every 2 years. One of the groups become the seats. They have to go up for re-election, or the seat.
So it's
becomes
staggered,
open.
so you don't end up with an
Right.
entirely new council.
So there's 4
all the time.
counselor
Yeah.
seats open right now.
I'm so excited about it, and I'll just tell you, any way I can help with your campaign.
Oh, thank you.
I'm definitely in. You've certainly
Yeah, that
helped with
really
mine.
means the world to me. I appreciate that very much.
I know a little bit about campaigning. I'm probably not as good at it as some of my colleagues. I think Scarlatos is probably the best campaigner ever. He'll tell you that. But Trent, what's your thoughts on the next mayor?
Well, the big thing is somebody put on there, well, what's Steve's qualifications? Well,
Somebody
first of
put that in the comments.
yeah. So first of all,
Oh my God.
I know him and his family have ran successfully, and not a little business, but an extremely large business in Douglas County for years.
Was the Roseburg
Roseburg
paving?
paving.
Yeah.
And and of course, he knows my parents very well. But the thing that I will tell you is he understands the numbers. That's serving on the cancer board with you. That we've had those conversations in numbers, and large numbers. Which in that position you need somebody to have that understanding of how to make them work, but also have that ability, like you said, to have conversations with people to change the narrative. Because you're exactly right. I think the narrative has went off the road.
Well, I think we're getting bogged down at the city council level. I think we got bogged down into some stuff that just doesn't matter.
Yeah, semantics.
And I know the whole, I don't want to get into it here tonight, but the ordinance for the sanctuary state stuff, sanctuary city, that was something that didn't need to happen.
Right.
And it didn't change anything.
Right. So the other thing is too, and people don't understand, Douglas County is one of the few counties in Oregon that has a rental shortage because they're all rented.
Yeah.
We've been very fortunate. Clear back when I was part of a mortgage company, the rent factor here, it's hard to get a rental because they're all rented out.
Well, you got to wait in line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
My
and-
son just went through that.
Yeah, 50 people will apply for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
And the sad part is they're all paying that fee
Yeah.
to apply, which I hate.
Yeah.
But somebody's making money on it.
Yeah. And so I know for a fact, and I'll vouch for Steve, he understands those factors in order to help have that conversation with somebody. Here's why we need to have a conversation, because all of this stuff over here really doesn't help the public get what they need.
Yeah. As far as qualifications go, you've been around a long time. You've done a lot of stuff. I mean, I know who you are. Feel free to expand on that. I mean, tell everybody how many boards and stuff you're on now.
Well, I'm really deeply invested in our community.
Yes.
This is my home, right? And always has been. And I'm on, the UCC board. I've been the board chair since 2017. And I serve we're talking about housing. I serve on the NeighborWorks Umpqua board, which is provides low-income housing, on the Aviva Health board, which is a federally qualified healthcare center, and we primarily serve disadvantaged people in our community. Also, Trent and I are on the community cancer center board. I'm on the Goodwill board, and the mission of Goodwill is really to provide employment. Is basically what it is. And,
Right.
we help people that really just are kind of at the bottom trying to get started, get a hand up and get going. And, those are, and I'm on the UCAN board also. So I'm, I really feel that.
I think you're qualified.
Yeah, I've got, but with that, I'm obviously going to have to give stuff up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm overcommitted as it is, but with that, there'll come all these relationships and connections, so that I just pretty much know people in our community, and know how to work with people, and anxious to try to get everybody working together. To
I think the hardest part of when when I got into the legislature, one of the hardest things for me was giving up that other stuff I didn't have the time to do anymore. And I still am intimately involved with search and rescue because I love doing it. I've done it since 2000. So I mean, 25, almost 26 years.
Yeah, that's great.
But I don't get to go out on as many call outs in fact, I got one today for a carry out for an elderly lady, and I didn't get to make that. And I missed that. But I know I'm serving my community in another way. And also I was the chair of the planning commission for the county, and I loved it. I mean, it was being in the middle of the mix is important to me. And I think it was, but I had to give it up. I just couldn't, too much conflict of interest there. I think it's important, again, this is my opinion, but I do believe it's important when you move up the political ladder or into the political arena, you have to have not only the experience, but and I'm not saying nobody ever gets elected with no experience, because sometimes, I mean, you'll see like an 18-year-old kid will get elected mayor of some city in back east, whatever. But the reality of it is, you're well-rounded. You have the education. Like you said, people. You could pick up the phone today, and I know you could call just about any legislator you want. I know you could call the commissioners. Everybody's going to answer their phone because they probably have your number in their phone, so they know it's you. Which makes you more, viable as a candidate and viable as a leader. I know that there on the other side of the aisle, not that it's a political issue, but on the other side of the aisle, I hear all the time how, it's a good old boy network. It's not the good old boy network. It's the people that stick their neck out, do the work, spend the time, sometimes their own money. And believe me, I've spent plenty of mine. I'm sure you spent plenty of yours to do the things for the community, to help the community.
Right.
And if you're not that person and you just want to be a leader, it's like, okay, the first question I ask is, well, what have you done? What have you shown me?
Right.
And I know every time I see just about anything going on, your name's on everything. I mean, you if you're not in that committee, you're probably financially helping somebody do something, So I just think it's really cool.
Well, Virgil, I know you really pretty well, and I know in my heart of hearts that you don't do this to make a name for yourself.
No.
Right? You are in this to serve our community, and that's the same spirit that I'm approaching this. That this is, I mean, my life would be a lot easier if I wasn't going to run for mayor, right? So it's pretty good right now, and so as I've thought about what to do with this season of my life right now, really there's nothing I would rather do than to serve our community and work with other community leaders to try to make this place better for the next generation. And I am really excited and eager to go to work to do that.
So are we.
So what's really cool about that is how our political system started historically. Men would build their businesses. They would get themselves to the point that they didn't need to be in the business, and then they would run to serve in office. And
I was just reading some stuff about that.
That's
actually.
where you became a gentleman
Yeah.
at that point. And I just think that's amazing. You literally said that I'm at this season in my life where I can do that. And we need more gentlemen like you to step up to do those things, because that's what it's about. That means you're engaged in the greater good versus I'm here for something else. To me, people don't understand that. I just watched a whole expose on Benjamin Franklin, and that whole
I might have saw the same
that
thing.
whole thing cost him his relationship with his family.
Wow.
But he found that service to kind of the good of the many outweighs the good of the few type of a thing, and that argument. And it was interesting, some of the snippets and observations by the guy that was narrating that is basically he brought that around to today. If more people were engaged for the fact that they're just willing to serve,
Right.
For as a Christian, we're that's part of what we do. We serve, and I think that's important.
I've always been, and I think, there's things that happen in your life. I've kind of told some of these stories before. At some point, there's something that happens to most people in their life that sets the direction for the rest of their life, or maybe changes something and pulls them out of the ditch and puts them on the straight and narrow. And I'll never forget, and I've told the story. I mean, when I was in high school, I think I was 16, and the coach accidentally left his clipboard out, and it had his comments on every single player on the team. And I'll just be frank with you, I didn't like the comments that he made about me. And today I can read that in my mind, and that was 40 years ago, 41 years ago, or whatever it was. And I don't want to be. I refuse to become the person that he accused me of being, selfish, basically self-centered. And I can't do that. That's not the only thing that drives me. I mean, my parents, I think I had great parents, and they were very giving, and I love the sense of knowing that something I did, for instance, the Community Cancer Center, that we just got them some money for the new piece of equipment, and could save some lives, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, but being able to do that and push that across the finish line and help out, that to me is the reward for doing this, right? It's not about name. It's not about how, I'm so and so or anything. And I know you're not that way either, Steve. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be involved in so many things. I don't know where you find the time to eat, but it's like, no, I'm just really, really happy that you're doing this. And I think,
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's really excited about
Yeah.
the opportunity.
I don't even know if there's anybody else that has anybody else signed up, and don't say their names, but has anybody else signed up?
There's one person that has gathering signatures. You have to get permission from the city recorder to
Okay.
turn in the 101 SCL 101, and then
Okay.
you get the petition. And so this person's gathering signatures.
How many signatures does it take?
Oh, you have to have 50.
Oh, that's not a big deal.
No.
Well, but they have to be
know-
Roseburg residents, right?
Yeah, Roseburg residents, which there's like a whole thing here to unpack. Like there's 24,000 people that live in the city, and so many of my friends don't live in the city.
Well, there's a reason.
Yeah, there is, and that's really one of the reasons like why I'm running.
Yeah.
Right. It's like there just isn't the opportunity within the city for our housing stock any longer, and then I went door to door in Hillcrest to get in really nice neighborhoods in Hillcrest to gather signatures
Nice.
and had some great conversations. The thing that just it really tugs at my heart though is that everybody has a Ring doorbell now, so they want to know who's at the door, and so they may or may not answer the door.
Your next mayor is at the door.
And then don't answer it. So and then these screen doors that are one-way doors, you
Yeah.
can only see through, they can only see out and you can't see in, and I talked to some people that are seniors, like in their say 80s, that are just maybe not too mobile, and there's people just are. It's almost like there's a little sense of fear, and I was just. It was heartbreaking to see that right in our own community, and some of it comes from perceived threats, some of it comes from someone that had been in the neighborhood the couple of weeks before that the law enforcement had been called, and so it's it really, I'm so glad I did that. I spent all day Saturday gathering signatures, and I feel this much deeper connection as a result of doing that with our community, and really understanding or a little bit of understanding of what the challenges that people have.
I think that kind of touches on something. I think that we do have an issue with people they're afraid. And Commissioner Freeman said this to me one time. It's several years ago. It was part of his, I guess, theory on politics. He's like, public safety is one of the most, if not the most important thing, one of the most important things in politics, because if you're not safe in your own home, nothing else matters. And it doesn't matter if you make any money. It doesn't matter if you're not safe, then you're going to be concerned about one thing all day long. And I think our homeless issue that we have in Roseburg, and amongst many other issues, drugs, and again, I always get chastised when I start saying, well, the homeless people have a drug issue. Well, it's true. I mean, it may not be all of the homeless people have drug issues, but about 80+% of them do. And that was just proven recently when they did a sweep of the camps, and they found illegal drugs on most everybody down there. I think it's important to support our police. And again, as politics works, the mayor is not the boss of actually, the city council is kind of the boss of the police chief, and I think Chief Kloppenstein, does a great job.
Yeah, he's great.
I think he's a really good guy, and how would you support him? Would you? I'm sure. I'll ask a question, but I already think I know the answer. But what do you think about that?
Oh gosh, 100%. Really, I've always been very supportive of law enforcement. In fact, at the college, one of the things I get to do there is participate in the Police Reserve Academy graduation. It's so cool. They invite me to sit up on the stage, with them, and it's like one of the best days of the year is to
Yeah.
be involved and watch those new cadets as they've been through all this rigorous training and are ready now to be launched on their career paths. And I'm just like 100% supportive of we have great local law enforcement, both, at a county and then at a city level too. And
Oh yeah.
just, really thrilled to help them in any way that possibly can.
I think we're blessed to have a great sheriff,
Mhm.
and I know he takes a lot of political heat. Recently, he took a fair amount of political heat over some decisions that some stuff that commissioners did. But um, he's also going to retire at some point. But I think Brad Odell is also a great guy. I mean, he's the undersheriff. Brad and I are friends. I've been literally working with him on search and rescue for years. The guy cares.
Yeah,
You
he's
know.
great.
Yeah.
Brad has been involved in the Police Reserve Academy.
Yeah.
So, I've been doing that for almost, I guess about a decade now. And he's wonderful but he's, one among several that are
Oh yeah.
involved in it.
Yeah.
They're all of, whether it's from Myrtle Creek or Sutherland or the tribe.
I got to tell you, I agree with you on that. I'm actually working with Myrtle Creek Police Department on some bills for them. Kevin Taggart is one of the folks that works down there that I'm working on some stuff. And actually, Brandon Sardi and Winston. I mean, I've had meetings with all of the heads of the police and the sheriff and our DA. I mean, it's just we have a great team in Douglas County, which is probably what keeps us as safe as we are.
Right.
I mean, you get into some of the urban areas up north, and things aren't so great.
Yeah.
Um,
Some of our community, hopefully this answers some questions. Some of our community isn't really that safe. And I'm like you, Virgil, I'm born and raised here. With what I do, I have to go into those communities. For the first time in my life, I'm carrying a gun to go to those communities because of what I've encountered in those areas. So I don't feel safe going into it in here, of all places. So to be able to maybe change that to where people are, understanding that there's no place for that anymore.
yeah.
That
Well, it's interesting. Bruce Epperson, who's one of my neighbors, a great guy, lives out in Looking Glass, and he says he's fortunate to have a state policeman that lives on his street, his road, whatever. And I don't know if Bruce knows it or not, but you have more than one, Bruce. There's like 4 that live out there around us, and frankly, it makes me happy too. I mean, the crime rate in the country is a lot less than it is in the city because it's just not as convenient. And I know to walk up my driveway, that's a 650-foot walk from the street. With a shooting range. So, I mean, I'm not saying that somebody couldn't commit a crime on my property, but not if I see it first. So let's put it that way. I think that we need to do some work on our homeless issues. I don't think this is the time and the place to figure that out as far as how we're going to deal with the homeless problem. It's a state level issue. Unfortunately, the cities are strapped. They can only do what they can do with state law. Grants Pass, unfortunately, knows that the most because they got sued. But we also have a lot of liberal folks that are running around the county trying to get homeless people to sue the county or sue the city and I'm like, some of those same folks are living on funds that the state's providing for them to have a home. And again, I don't want to go too deep into the weeds on that, but let's talk about parking. Did we talk about parking yet, or did we just talk about that before the show? I don't think we did.
Just before the show.
Just before the show. I hate Roseburg's parking situation. And I'll just say it, I don't even care if a million people hear me. I think Ace parking is just absolutely horrible. I'll just leave it at that. So we need to fix Roseburg's parking situation downtown. It's a hot mess. I would like to see people want to come back to town. Frankly, when I come to town to get my hair cut, it's about the only time I go downtown. I park my car where I can see it and if I have to run out and have a discussion with somebody giving me a ticket, yeah, we'll have that discussion. What are you gonna do to fix that?
Why don't you kick off our discussion with what we talked about before the show started and what you would,
I'll tell you what I would do.
yeah, do
Yeah.
that. That's
Okay. So
great entry point.
so I know that looking at the budget for Roseburg, they spend about 300,000 ish, and I found out tonight there's some stuff that's mixed in with that on the parking police, on Ace Parking, which is, by the way, a San Diego-based company. They're not even an Oregon-based company, but they probably bid low and got the contract. What I would like to see is Ace Parking go to hell. I mean, go away. They can just disappear. And I would like to see the city spend that same budget on our parking structure that we already have. And I think if we would spend that $200,000 to $300,000 on security, maybe even some video cameras or whatever is necessary, we may end up with a situation where people wouldn't be afraid to park in the downtown parking structure because they might, they don't want to go. I don't blame them. I don't want to get confronted by somebody that's going to poop on the car or poop on the ground and throw it at you, or, break your windows out of your car. I think that would be a much better improvement. Plus, optics wise, people would go, oh, well, okay, I don't have to see that Ace guy running around. I had a discussion after I got my first parking ticket with the gentleman from Ace who no longer works there now. But I had a discussion with him about, I told him, I said, frankly, I think what you're doing is harassing citizens. He says, no, I'm just, upholding the law or whatever. I said, no, you're not. I said, look at you. You're parked on the street. You're waiting for a guy to move that's 15 minutes over his time slot. And I go, you're just waiting to harass citizens. There's nobody else on that part of the street. So it's not like it's hurting anybody, but you want to give him a ticket and piss off another customer for this business that could be here. And I said, why don't you look back down the street? See all those people that you could be giving tickets to? Oh no, you're going to pick on this guy. I said, do you remember the one? Do you remember my license plate? And he remembered it from the day before when he gave me my ticket. I just think harassing citizens is horrible. Anyway, I started. Go ahead.
There's like multiple entry points. One is the parking garage, and
Yes.
you're absolutely right that the city. What were we told? That something like $100,000 from the city budget
Yeah.
goes towards the parking garage. I'm part of which is water, which I don't understand. So that a good point to make is that there's a lot of this that I just simply don't understand. So I'm still in the listening, gathering information mode. I'm with you though about this parking ticket thing. I've got tickets before, and they're all for things like not parking within the white stripes.
Which was what mine was.
Yeah, your wheels are over or something. But I've always said that if I were king for a day, I would get rid of all the paid parking downtown and just make it all free, and then go door to door for all the downtown businesses, give my cell phone number, and get them to agree, like, look, we're on the same team. I'm a small business owner. You're a small business owner. We all have to get along and work together, and we need to keep this. We don't want to let our employees all just, hog up all the spaces downtown. That's a complaint you hear, and there's all kinds of parking that's maybe just a block or two away. So let's all just agree that we're going to work together. And I'm, this could be really naive and arrogant, but it's just like, I've told people that give me 2 or 3 months and I think we could all work together and I could get them to play along and we would get rid of this problem with employees parking downtown. And I'd be willing to put the time in to make that work, And there's all kinds of parking downtown.
Oh yeah.
We have so much parking. That's not the issue. We've made all these other issues the issue. And so I think we need to, that's what I would do if I had my way is I really like to, plus it'd be great to get to know all the small business owners and
and get them to where they don't hate the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Because right now I think
we're on their team.
Yeah.
We're there to support them.
And I think right now that's not the case. I think they pretty much don't like the city. Which is just the opposite of what I see in Sutherland. And I know, was it Jessica Batchelor? I think she's gone now, but she was the chair there of their Chamber of Commerce for a long time, and she did amazing stuff. I mean, she had just the right personality for the job. But you go any one of the businesses in Sutherland downtown, it's like, man, they just love what's going on with the city of Sutherland. And I'd like to see that same thing happen in Roseburg. Now, I live in Looking Glass, so I'm obviously not I would vote for you if I was, if I lived in Roseburg for sure. But I think that I think it's time for Roseburg to turn a corner and go in the direction of the county. To be honest with you, I think our commissioners are strong and they do good work. And I think our county, frankly, if it wasn't for our 3 commissioners we have now, our county would be insolvent. They've done some amazing work, and I think that Roseburg can do some of the same things. I would really like to see the parking issue, resolved and make people want to come back downtown. I also like that they have the farmers market downtown. I've only been able to go a few times, but I think those are things that bring people downtown.
Oh yeah, the farmers market's great. I was
Yeah.
there just this last weekend. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's fabulous.
Well, and I often hear from the left, I hear people cry about, well, we need to replace the timber industry with some other form of, income and what have you. First off, you can't replace the timber industry with any form of, unless it's a, major like Intel decides to move to Roseburg, which isn't going to happen. But if you want tourism, you got to have a reason. People have to want to come here. And farmers markets are things that bring people in on a Saturday. I know when I lived in Santa Cruz for a while, they had the flea market out at the old movie theater on every Saturday and Sunday. And I look forward to going to it. It was just one of those things, and it brought people in. Well, if you're going to come to Roseburg, you're probably going to stop and have a cup of coffee at Dutch Bros, or you might stop downtown and have breakfast, So anytime people are coming into town, it just increases the cash flow downtown, which helps people pay their taxes and keeps people working. I know that one of the things, and I know you understand this, is small business struggles in Oregon. I mean, we are not a business-friendly state, period. And we can pretend all we want that we are. We're not. And I'm in the legislature. I can guarantee you that's the truth because I see it all the time. They'd rather tax us to death, and businesses are fleeing Oregon just about as fast as they can. And small businesses are now not hiring replacement employees. I mean, they're just not. When you had 3 employees, now they're just maybe doing it by themselves just to stay open and keep the doors open and stay in business. Helping small business sometimes can be something as simple as helping them in enterprise zones, maybe the city gives them a tax break or gives them a parking break or something like that. All those things. And so that's why I think you're qualified. What would you do to help small business right away? I mean, is there something that you can think of off the top of your head? And I put you on the spot, sorry, but
No, it's fine. I'll be the first to admit I don't have all the answers,
sure.
but I love people and I love to talk to people and just to learn and listen.
Yeah.
And the first thing I would do would be to just start talking to these small business owners. I mean, I've already started that and just continue that to listen to, what their challenges are. I think that, you said that it feels for some of them, they perceive that the city is like working against them.
The enemy. Yeah.
Yeah. And we can change that overnight. I'm all for these and I want to know what their real challenges are, what the city can do. And I know the Main Street program the city has contributed funds to help launch a Main Street program. And, I'd like to see us really get behind that effort. And I know that would be transformative. Sutherland has a really robust Main Street program, which has just changed the whole character of the downtown. And so it's a lot of listening, Virgil, and then doing something with that. I mean, I don't like just to talk about stuff. I'm a doer. So
Yeah.
we want to do stuff that's going to help support the community.
So I got to tell you, in Salem, I'm there a lot, as you can imagine. There is a thing, it's off of Lancaster, and it's called The Yard. And what it is a series of food trucks with a big pavilion in the middle. And there's probably, maybe 20 food trucks that kind of line the thing. And that place is hopping. I mean, at lunchtime and even at breakfast and probably dinner. I haven't eaten dinner there, but it is just jammed with people. And people go there I go there just when I go to Salem sometimes. What do you think about doing something like that in Roseburg?
Yeah, I think that, increasing the opportunity for food trucks would be great.
Yeah.
It just would, it's just another thing that gives people, it helps draw people downtown, and it helps, just like you said, it helps small businesses, helps, employ, to grow their employment base, and, just looking for ways to, help support and drive our local economy is,
Right.
I mean, that's like the heart of like what's going to help the engine to improve our community.
Yeah. I know that the Cow Creek tribe has purchased a bunch of downtown. And years ago, there was a movement to to bring in some education, well, nursing education, that kind of thing. But now some of that property, I think the Cow Creeks have purchased. What do you think about that? And what do you? I don't. You probably know more about it than I do. I haven't really followed it much. But what do you think about that? I mean, I want to say they probably own the biggest single portion of downtown now.
Oh gosh, they're such wonderful partners.
Yeah.
They are just great to work with. From Michael Rondeau, the CEO, all the way, through UDCIC, which, is John McCafferty and Travis Hill. They're really great partners.
I like that you know all those names.
Oh gosh,
That's
they're
important.
like dear friends, and,
Yeah.
and so, we briefly mentioned, where the old, I call it Payless, everybody else calls it Rite Aid,
It was Payless
It was
first.
Payless.
I
I used
remember
to
it.
get popcorn in the downstairs if I was.
My sister worked there.
My parents didn't have a lot of money, but once in a while, my mom would let us get popcorn down there. And so, I don't know all the details. I know that just enough to know that they have a real vision for what they want to do with that property, and it would just be so transformative to have that whole thing turned into a vibrant marketplace. And I'm just couldn't be more excited about figuring out how we can support their initiative to, because oh my gosh, that's the first thing you see when you pull into Roseburg.
Oh, I know. Just big vacant lot.
Yeah, and we have the opportunity to completely change that. So let's get behind it and make that happen. It would it'll change everything. It'll help every other business downtown.
My feeling is that having you in the mayor position and a few others that are going to run on council, which we're going to talk about that next week probably, but it would maybe strengthen the relationship between the Cow Creeks and the city of Roseburg. And although I know some people don't like the whole Cow Creeks, partnerships because of the money and whatever, people don't realize how many dollars they give back to the community. And it's a lot. I mean, I used to kind of complain because they didn't pay property taxes until I went and met with the tribal council and I saw the numbers of what they actually give back to the community. I'm like, that far exceeds anything they would have paid in taxes. So although I realize that some people also say, well, it's just a casino. It's like, no, they own properties, they own businesses, they do a lot of good work. So I hope to see that.
Yeah, and I know them well enough that they view this, these sorts of things as economic development, and they're very committed to support the community, and in doing so, they're going to grow their own enterprise, and in doing that, they'll, it all just multiplies and help the community.
Unfortunately, the casino is just out of my district, but of course their tribal offices are in Roseburg, so they are in my district. But they have always been a huge supporter for me. They literally have both financially and others, and I have also supported them. I mean, they've had some federal issues that they've dealt with on new casinos being built, and I've went to bat for those guys every time.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I want to talk real quick about some of our sponsors because hopefully we'll get Steve as a sponsor.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of our sponsors real quick, and then we'll do some closing stuff here. I'll start off with Becky Holmes Insurance, and you know what? I actually have a little ad that she gave me, but I'll just tell you, she is Medicare, Marketplace, Cancer and Hospitality Indemnity Insurance. She never charges for her services and can interpret the language of insurance, which I cannot, but she has done it for me. She's great. If you're going to be traveling, see Becky for travel insurance, short-term medical trip insurance as well. All of those things that are important. I don't know if that includes out of the country. You probably know. Like if medical and short-term medical insurance, if you're traveling to Mexico, would that be a good thing?
I'm not in medical insurance.
You're not in medical insurance. Well, anyway, Becky Holmes is. Becky Holmes, 541-900-6001. She's great for all your insurance questions. Again, 541-900-6001. Becky Holmes Insurance. She's a good friend of mine as well, and she's honest, which insurance agents today, I know Trent's honest, but having an honest insurance agent means a lot. And somebody
because he knows where I live.
yeah, I do. Right? So please, if you have insurance questions, give
He
her a
comes
call.
over for dinner a lot.
I'm also gonna take the fame here, and I'm gonna mention Looking Glass Brewery. We have a sign up here.
Yeah.
Mark and Lydia, amazing people. They have long been supporters of not just my campaign and all of the political stuff that we do. We've met at they're kind of our headquarters for our launching stuff that we do for our campaigns. But also they've both been huge supporters, as well as Bubba, who works for them, with Champagne Creek Ranch, and all of our events that we've done up there. They've donated a lot of not only time and money and
Yeah.
product. Again, if you like beer, if you like microbrews, I don't think there's a better microbrew in Oregon
Yep.
than these guys.
Yeah. They support my event at my parents' place every year.
We just had your
Yep.
luau,
And just amazing.
yep,
Just amazing.
they kicked in a keg of beer with 2 kegs of beer.
Yeah. And
with
they're empty.
and a Bubba.
And a Bubba.
Yeah, and
That's right. In case things went bad, we have a Bubba. Don't
so-
make us use it.
Bubba's a big guy. He can
Yeah.
lift a whole keg of beer on his own, throw it on his shoulder, and then toss it at you if he's mad at you. I mean, no. So again, they have been a sponsor of this podcast, and again, this podcast doesn't happen for free. We actually have to pay for it. I think it's $200 an episode that we do right now. For all the editing and all the work that goes into it. But we're going to keep doing it as long as we can. I think it's a great way to get the message out there, and frankly, I hope it's a service to the community. That's my intention. And also educational on politics. We want people to understand how politics works, not just at a local level, a county level, but also at a state level.
Right.
And I think we've educated a lot of people, and hopefully in a good way.
Yeah.
And Trent, you want to talk about Bob Murray?
Bob Murray, yeah. Bob Murray Trucking is a big supporter of ours. I was with him this weekend. He had about no sleep. He's been down on the Castle Fire. As far as I know, he might be down there right now. He'd been moving things back and forth. Another great supporter of ours, and anything that we do in the Republican Party, I can call Bob and he goes, "How much do you want?" Which is, we try not to take advantage of that.
No, of course
but they are sincere in wanting to be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Yeah.
And so sharp. His company moves 1 million pounds of earth material a day.
Probably more than that right now with the cat down.
Yeah,
on
well,
fire.
and he's got that flail thing going down there, and so yeah, it's amazing what And again, I love the American success story. He started in the early '80s with a truck,
Yeah.
and now he's multi-state and doing fires and does everything he can to help that community be viable.
And speaking of fires, I want to do a little housekeeping here before we go on to our next sponsors, but this is a good segue to that. So the fire updates, I just actually text the state fire marshal. That's right, I actually have her personal cell number. We burned 2.1 million acres to date this year. That exceeds what we burnt in the record year of 24, I think it was the record year. 25, we didn't have a lot of fires. They expected a bad fire season this year, but in 24, we were at 2 million acres toward the end of summer. We're just in the middle of summer, and we're at 2.1 million. So who knows how much is more. We haven't really had terrible bad thunderstorms yet. I will tell you that I fielded multiple calls today on folks that are trying to get their equipment on the fires. I also spoke with Katie Jones for quite some time today regarding just that issue. Viper has changed some of the way they handle their contracts, and I know that a lot of people are seeing equipment coming. They're seeing, equipment from California working on fires in Oregon. They're seeing equipment from other states coming into Oregon. I will tell you that there are people being called out from Oregon to Washington and other states as well. So Viper is not necessarily specific at any, where they put the equipment. They try to put it where they need it. Now, we've also discussed, again, I'll go into this a little deeper. We need management teams. We don't just send people out on fires because there's a fire. We have to have a fire management team, and that consists of several people. They have to be trained to keep you safe.
Yes.
And I know that it just seems like, well, I've got this cat, I'm going to go push a dozer line. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
They do call people when they're needed. I field multiple calls, multiple emails, multiple messages every day. People are upset because they want to get their equipment out on the fire. And trust me, I want our local equipment out on the fires also. I will tell you, I found out some information today for the Umpqua. If you're just signed up to run fire equipment in the Umpqua, which a lot of folks are, at one point there used to be a total, I think it was 13 engine tenders total for the Umpqua. Now there are 59. So you have to have a hell of a big fire to run 59 engine tenders. Frankly, the fires are fought from the ground and the air, and an engine tender they're not going to fuel a helicopter with water necessarily from an engine tender. So we have an abundance of fire equipment. We have people that are sitting on the sidelines that bought equipment just to fight the fires, but they're not able to get out on the fires because they're not needed yet because there's an abundance of equipment.
Right.
My suggestion would be, it's too late this year, but if you did sign up with Viper, number one, if you get a phone call, take it. If you get a dispatch, take it. And even if it's a pain in the butt and you got to drive to Prineville to fight the fire or whatever it is you're going to do, they may not call you back. You might not get back in the rotation. Also, I would suggest that if you're capable of doing it, I would suggest that you cover multiple areas, not just the Umpqua. I would sign up on Viper for, multiple, maybe even out of state calls. I know it's difficult for some contractors that aren't that big. But I want everybody to know that's watching, and everybody that maybe will watch or listen in the future, I'm doing everything in my power. I'm doing everything I can possibly do to make it known that you guys need to and want to be out on the fires. So hang in there. Yeah. And I hope the fire season, frankly, I want to see you guys all out fighting fire, but I hope the fire season ends quick.
Well, and I was just looking on Onyx has all the fires listed.
Yeah.
We've been relatively lucky.
There's in Douglas County.
We've got one on the fringe. We've got 2 fires on the fringe of our county, but you get the other side of Highway 97 into Central and Eastern Oregon.
It's bad.
It's everywhere, all the way to Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, it's really bad this year.
Yeah.
And again, there's all kinds of. Somebody would ask a question. Who seems like Viper? Who are they? Viper is the government agency that dispatches fire equipment to fires. It's a federally ran agency that goes, I believe, mostly handled through the Forest Service.
Right.
But I think they can dispatch the BLM as well. Okay, with that, I want to go on to a couple more sponsors here. We have Commissioner Chris Boyce has been a longtime sponsor with us now, and we love Chris Boyce. He's doing great work. Keep it up, Chris. Also, Senator David Brock Smith is a sponsor of this podcast as well, and we get him on here from time to time. Actually, Chris has been on with us from time to time too, and it's probably time to have them both back. It's been a while. Also, my company, Twin Peaks Off-Road, we are a sponsor, and Little Mill Media, as well as now Spider King Studios, who helps produce this thing. We have Jake with us tonight. Justin had to leave with Little Mill, but Jake's with us, and we appreciate all the work they do. And, frankly, we have this awesome studio, and it's because of them. So thank you guys all for that. Okay, now I've already spent too much time talking, but let's do some closing thoughts. And Steve, give us your campaign pitch.
My campaign pitch is let's go. Let's take back Roseburg. We've got great people, great opportunities, and let's get to work.
Are you going to be at the fair?
I've got a little list here of things to talk to you about, and I think it would be a good thing to do. I just want to get your advice on that.
Okay. Well, we can talk afterwards, but for sure, I'll be at the fair. Yeah, I'll be at the fair. I think starting tomorrow. The fair starts. I don't remember if it starts at 10 or what. I think the runway opens at 10, and then the buildings open at 11 or something like that. But I'll be there every day. I want to encourage everybody that has a question, legislative question, or for that matter, if you just want to ask me a question, I don't care. I will be there. And my intention is to try to be there every day, all day, till they close every night. And, there might be a time or two where I have to go eat because I don't want to get too skinny. But please come down to the fair, I don't know, buy a corn dog or something and come and see me. And we can talk about politics. And Steve, you're welcome in my booth if you want to come hang out or whatever. I don't know if probably don't have any signs yet.
I could have a sign by tomorrow.
Oh, well,
right.
Then bring some signs.
That's what I want to talk to you about.
I got you.
I took your question about, are you going to be at the fair? Well, of course I'm going to be at the fair, but are you going to be as a candidate? That's what I understood what you were asking. So.
Yeah. Well, we're there. I've had a booth there since 22, and we'll continue on until I'm not in the legislature anymore, and then I might actually run it for my small business as well. I don't know. I kind of like going to the fair. Okay. Any other closing thoughts?
It's great. Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I just want to take just a moment here to thank you for all your work. I've been a big supporter, Shelley and I have been, and really grateful for your service to our community in Salem. It means a lot to our community, and we're just so thankful that we have you to.
Thank you. I love what I do. It's not hard. I mean, financially it's hard, but I don't even care. I love what I do, and I think it's for a good cause. And I'm going to keep doing it until people get tired of me doing it. Trent, you got any closing thoughts?
I do. First, Steve, thank you for doing this, for stepping up and serving. I admire the men and women that are willing to do that. Just from what I've done, I can see it's not easy going out your front door in the daytime, so I really appreciate that. Second of all, like Virgil said, we're all going to be at the fair. For those of you who missed the meet and greet, come and meet Virgil. Come and meet Steve. Bring those questions that are more of a one-on-one question that you can have with these people, with these candidates. Chris Boyce will be there. Bring him your questions.
Court Boyce will be there.
Court Boyce will be there from District 1. Yeah.
There's a one?
Yeah, he's a 1. And will Alec be there? No, Alec's out of town.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
Well, he's a new dad. He lost his mind.
Yeah, he's busy.
Yeah.
He's got horses and stuff to deal with.
And of course there'll be the Republican booth. There'll be plenty of people there to answer questions. Come and see these guys. Ask them questions. If you can't find them, find me. I'll get you to them. I think it's important to start that narrative face to face. Social media will be the death of America, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So instead of here, why not come in and shake a hand, have a glass of water or something to drink, and have that conversation. That's where real change happens, when you have a conversation. This weekend at our luau, had a conversation with a person that doesn't support us, but the conversation was positive because of the fact I asked them literally, are you happy with the results that you're seeing from your party in Oregon? No, wasn't.
Somebody else. Yeah, 2 Democrats.
Yeah, I had more than one. But the answer was no. And then so we just proceeded that conversation from there. I didn't berate the person.
No,
it didn't. I just wanted to listen, and I think that's important. We need to get back to having those conversations where we listen to each other, and we talk all the time.
Yeah.
We don't always agree, everybody. You may think, that, I'm a lockstepper Virgil or whatever, and I'm Virgil's whatever. We don't always agree, and that we think that's okay.
It is okay. A respectful disagreement is actually what this country's made on. I mean, that's what we do. And
it helps me think.
Helps us all think.
Helps us understand.
Yeah. I think that... First off, thank you so much for coming on. It was short notice, but I think it was effective, and we're going to be supporting you. I'm sure that all of our colleagues will be supporting you too. I think it's something Roseburg needs. I want to just say one last time: if you like what you see, please follow us, like us, and subscribe on YouTube. Our YouTube following has grown considerably, and as it continues to grow, it gets more coverage. Also, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Facebook. This will stay live on Facebook. Well, recorded live on Facebook, I think, for a month before it actually goes straight to YouTube. But you can watch us on YouTube right now. We appreciate everything and all of the people that follow us and the comments. There's been quite a few here tonight. Some questions. I see that I have Katie on here. She's answering some questions. Thank you, Katie, so much for doing that. We appreciate everything you do for the community too. And with that, I don't have anything else if nobody else does.
It's been a great night.
It's been a great night. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you. I think we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll be around next week, to
Yes,
the best
sir.
of my knowledge, unless my schedule changes. But I don't know who we'll have, but I have some real possibilities. So we'll see. All right. Have a great night, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.